Plugs and Bugs, episode 80.
I
The milestone.
love the fact that Martinez. Like you didn't know what to say.
Before we get started with the episode, can I soapbox really quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So right before we hit record, we talked about doing a segment of Kings fan faux pas. I'd like to start with the most glaring. Can we stop glorifying that same highlight? It was 6 years ago. We get it.
I mean, it's a very dramatic highlight, dude. OT winner for the cup.
I'm just sick of seeing every 17-year-old girl and every soccer mom running around Staples Center in a Martinez jersey. So I'm just sick of everything Martinez.
Playing jazz hands.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed. It's excitable, dude.
I mean,
you're just a hater, Alex.
Don't be a hater. Just think
You're
of all
just a hater.
Think of all the Dodger fans that had to say the same thing since '88, and we finally don't have to worry about it.
No.
Do you know how
that
tiring
lasts a
it
little
is?
bit longer.
Do you know how tiring it is to watch that Kirk Gibson home run before they win a title?
And I wasn't even alive for it.
I mean, I was alive. I don't even remember it, but it's fucking boring, dude. But anyway, we digest.
But yeah, so welcome in, everybody. As always, you got myself, Daniel. Who's going in? Alex?
I'm Alex.
No Scott this week. All right, that fucked up. Zach is muted, so.
Oh, hey, I'm Zach.
And our intro is a little bit better. Anyways, we jumped right into a topic, and we have our special guest,
Davicho.
What's up, everybody?
Regular and our buddy over on ZadMap.
And we are Los Angeles. We are going to be recording again.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. We are going to get the boys back together and do a webisode, I guess, version of the podcast. So stay tuned for that before the season starts.
Will there be
we're just gonna go the StreamYard route, man. I mean, it's just such a more convenient platform to send shit out on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care to record podcasts anymore. Like I actually record it, put it up on SoundCloud, do all that stuff. I'd rather just have shows. It's so much easier, dude. I mean, with ZadMap, with the media show, like all of it. You know what I mean? It's just so much easier.
It's fun. Oh, yeah. I mean, normally, I still put it up on SoundCloud. I just didn't do the last one because the sound quality was terrible. So.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we had Val Maki. That's right.
Yeah. Mike's mic kept going out. So.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh my God! There goes Oswald. I knew it was happening.
Oh shit!
And he was invited, dick. No, I agree. I mean,
did I say it was going to come on?
He gave you sass for absolutely no reason.
Yeah. Start calling him Sasswald, bro. Fuck.
Ego wald. He just egoed us. That's all.
You can ego an internet show?
I mean, yeah, why not? You got an big enough ego.
I mean, you egoed us the other night, bro. I mean, we won a game and then you just completely dipped out on us. Didn't even say a word.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'll explain that later.
He egoed us and all 7 of our listeners.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. What happened last week? I was trying to come on. You guys didn't want to
talk about Oswald. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It is.
It is what it is. It is
what
it is.
I see a common theme here.
Whoa, for fuck's sakes, what is going on?
Is there an airplane in Alex's fucking living room? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Is that what it sounds like when you vape? Like that's the noise you make?
I don't know why this mic is so sensitive right now.
It's just like you. Fucking sensitive as fuck.
Yeah, big old nipples and sensitive. Anywho, I've noticed something that's very similar here. I don't know if we did this on purpose, but Daniel's wearing King's gear. Zach's wearing King's gear. And this asshole's wearing King's gear. And as you can see,
that asshole's wearing King's gear.
I'm wearing King's gear.
Yeah.
Dare I say, we're going to be talking about the Kings today.
We are. This is going to be a Kings episode. We obviously talked about the Flames last time. That was, I think, tough for.
Are we going to start our own 30 and 30, but instead of 30 minutes, it's going to take us 30 weeks?
Wait, what?
Like 30 teams in 30 days.
I don't think we're gonna be able to do that.
No, we got a season starting.
You thought
the season will have been over
13th, dude.
Yeah.
Dave and I are going to be doing Zach and Dave Make a Podcast, hopefully on Wednesday. We kind of been slacking on hitting up everybody. So this is our formal invite to you guys. Wednesday, we're going to be having all of our past guests on in about 10 to 15 minute intervals, just to shoot the shit real quick, talk about the year in review, shit like that. So you guys are obviously more than welcome to come on Wednesday about the same time, 8:30.
Talk about things that have exploded, things that haven't.
Yeah, things you want to explode. Waiting to be exploding. I don't know, man. But yeah, it should be fun. We've had like the same guests on like for the last like 4 weeks. It's mostly all the same people. So it's gonna be a good time. 8:30. It's gonna get weird because we are weird. So anyway,
tune in. It will be fun.
Nice plug there, Diff.
Yeah. I've been working on it, dude.
That's our tagline. We're weird.
We weird.
We weird.
Yeah. Zach came up with that. I did not come up with that.
That's good. Oh,
number one fan.
Who do we got?
She's back.
Hell yeah. Look at her in her picture, bro.
Hey!
Who said that you could be putting your picture online like that?
Damn, doing selfies and didn't tell Dad.
No. Damn, dude.
Uncool.
Dead. So lay it on me, Daddy. What do we got? What do we got for the show tonight?
I don't know. Are we gonna talk about the Kings going 7-0 in March before the shutdown? Are we gonna talk about that at all? Are we gonna talk about prospects? What the fuck's going on?
So I don't know if we want to go with what Daniel has here. I'd like to start with the rumor that came out today that the Kings are going to be signing Athanasiou.
They did.
And
we could, yeah.
It's confirmed. It's done.
We can start, Alex. We can start with whatever. We just want to hit these topics.
So all four of us talked about it 2 years ago. So I'd like to say you heard it here first.
Yes.
Even though it was like 2 years behind, but
that's a great signing.
I want to ask you guys where you think he should slot into the lineup, and what benefit you guys think a guy who hasn't really panned out on any team he's played for, given that the only two teams he's played for have also been bottom feeders in Detroit and Edmonton, respectively. Where do you guys think he slots into this lineup with this much youth already in development? And what do you think he can bring to that line that we don't necessarily have yet?
So I think right now he probably slots in at like what is he left? He's left-handed, right? So he probably slot him in up with Kopi just to start the season. And the reason being, he's fast, he's young, gets in on the forecheck. Kopi can feed him, but then you can also play him. I mean, I could see him on the second line as well with like a Villar. Well, see, that's where it gets tough, right? Because like on your left wing, you have Iafallo. You have Kempe, which I think they're going to try and move to left wing. Third Austin Wagner.
Yep.
And then you have like Trevor Moore and stuff like that, right? So for me, it's tough to say exactly where he's going to slot in. I think I'm going to sign this kid so that at the deadline I can flip him for picks. Doesn't necessarily matter where he slots in.
Possible. I could see that.
I mean, he's young enough too that they might look at
24, 25, I believe.
I think he's 26.
He's still young.
Yeah, he's relatively young. That speed is killer, though, man. I'd like to see that, like in when him earn his spot type of situation, like with Kopi. Maybe start him off on the on like the third line.
Well,
maybe create some speed that way, maybe some energy that way. I just off the bat, I find it hard to want to put him next to Kopi.
See, my thing is
there's so many interesting ideas there.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave, but I feel like he has very much the same problem that Austin Wagner does, where he has or even what's his name, Tobias Reeder had all that speed and you got nowhere to go.
Basically,
I mean, Anthony has shown that he has hands, though. I mean,
we talked about the step forward he did last year,
but in flashes. I feel like this is just the reason I brought it up, like my opinion on it. If we had a third line of, say, Velarde's obviously going to be slotted in at the 3C or 2C, depending what they want to do with Carter and developing prospects on his wings. And I think Iafallo is going to stay the number one left wing regardless, because that line's the only line we have with any sort of chemistry is Kopitar, Iafallo, and Brown. But I feel like Iafallo would slot in really well with, say, like Velarde at center and Martin Ferk on right wing.
You mean Athanasiou?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
going to be hard to say all year.
It's a lot of letters.
Athanasiou.
I feel like the three of them would slot really well together. You've got the hardest slap shot in any league in Martin Furk, who also had more or less kind of a resurgence. I mean, he's a career third line forward, but he had sort of a scoring resurgence, a developing prospect who really broke out at the end of last season in Velarde at center. And then you combine that with some speed on the wing. That line could be a pretty decent energy line for the Kings this coming season.
I like it, man.
I've also
him or Wagner.
I don't know. We'd have to see him in a race. But I've heard rumblings of Kempe being on a line with. I can get I've heard rumblings of. Fuck! I gotta mute you, bro. I can't pay attention to what I'm saying. I've heard rumblings of Kempe, Velarde, and Furk actually being on the line. Kempe needs to be the alpha male on a line, and Velarde and Furk need that. They need that person who's going to drive the play, and Velarde is obviously going to be able to hit Kempe, open him up, and then Furk plays really well with Velarde. That's just what I heard, but. I mean,
it's going to be how it pans out too, because they said Athanasiou is going to not be. He's not going to make camp because he has to travel to LA and then quarantine. So he won't even.
I kind of disagree with that. I feel like if anything, Velarde is going to be the one driving the plays on any line he plays on, unless he goes up with the biggies.
I don't think he's fast enough to do that, dude.
No.
I don't think he's fast enough to drive any play on any line. I mean, he's he's not slow, right? He's not Byfield slow, but like he's. I'll say that he's not.
You said it with a straight face too. I like it.
He's an average NHL skater, dude. So I mean, I feel like Kempe's going to be the one that breaks the zone, feeds it to Velarde. Velarde is going to find whoever it is that he needs to find. I think that's the way that play will go.
See, but we talk about speed, and I feel like the traditional idea of speed in the NHL was more not dead, I would say, but a lot less important, because you look at a team like the Vegas Golden Knights in the first season they were together, and they aren't a very fast team in general in terms of individual skating, but their transition play is so much faster than this for other teams.
You got to play fast.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Velarde could definitely facilitate that kind of game, even if he doesn't have the best individual foot speed.
He's a great passer. He is. He's 100%. A very good passer.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's holding him back is literally his own health. His back.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's going to be much questions about that anymore, man. I mean, number one, he came in, played in the A, and then got his call up to the bigs, played really well in the bigs. I don't think, and there's no questions about his health since, right? I think he's got that under control.
You can
I would hope so. I mean, worst case scenario, you look at guys like Steven Stamkos has been perpetually injured his entire career, and even a younger Jeff Carter. And I mean, those guys still made huge impacts on their team despite being injury prone. So is injury really that scary for us right now if a guy like Velarde, especially where, worst case scenario, God forbid he doesn't pan out, we have so many guys in the pipeline that can take that spot.
Yeah. But then again, though, I mean, Velarde pans out to be number 1, number 2 seed, maybe a 1A, 1B, somewhere around there,
I disagree with that, bro. I don't think there's room for him on this team in the future to play a 1 or 2 seed. I think he's going to have to shift to the wing, because I think between Byfield and Turcotte, those are two guys that you can't slot on the wing, whereas Velarde has the flexibility to move to one of those wings.
I want to show you guys something. This is what Amelia drew right now.
Kings
go. I'll disagree with you, and the reason being, I don't think Turcotte's going to pan out to be a center in the NHL. I just don't think he has the size or the prowess in the faceoff dot. I think he slots over to the wing more than Velarde does. Same thing with Kupari. Kupari doesn't have the smarts to play center. I mean, he's come over to North America, and he hasn't really shown that he's a first-round draft pick. So I mean, I think Velarde has the transitional game at center, has the face-off prowess at center. He's always been a center, so I mean, makes more sense to have him stay there.
I'm gonna go out on a whim here. This is gonna be one of my bold predictions for this season, but I'll just drop it now. I don't think Rasmus Kupari is gonna pan out the way people keep expecting he's going to. I think Rasmus Kupari is never gonna develop past like a bottom 6 role.
I agree.
I mean, being like maybe a reliable 3C, but I don't ever see him breaking into like a second line NHL center. Even I don't think he has, like you said, I don't think he has the smarts. I think he has the hands, and that's pretty much it. But one aspect of Yeah, but one aspect of your game isn't enough anymore.
Yeah.
There are so many
And then you
guys
throw
have
in the
advantage.
added fact of what you just said right before that. The pipeline we have so many other guys that just have a higher ceiling that he's just not going to be able to rise above. So I mean, you throw in that fact too. It's just not going to happen. And if he could be a reliable 3C, great.
Yeah. And to piggyback off what you just said, that's another topic I wanted to bring up is I feel like Kings fans are excited for, I don't want to say the wrong thing because we do have a very deep pipeline, but I feel like people need to limit their expectations on some of our players because what makes our pipeline so deep is we have so many good third line options in development, fourth line options in development, second pairing demon. I mean, the whole roster, I wouldn't say we're stacked with star talent top to bottom, but we have so many guys that are going to develop into quality middle level NHL players, and you need that. That is so important.
It's the Vegas effect, bro, where it's literally you're playing a full 4 lines of 2Cs and second liners, right?
The idea is they're going to pan out to be exactly what they're expected and a high level of that line. So if you have a guy that's in development as a fourth line guy, we're expecting them to be one of the top fourth lines because of the skill they have.
Well, and you look at go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the 1C or the 1A, 1B centers of the future for the Kings is going to be Quentin Buffield and Gabe Velarde. I think that's your 1 and 2 Cs. 3C, you're probably looking at Jad just because he's a shutdown guy, plays really well. That's the next captain of the Kings.
Jad is the next Jarrett Stoll. I've been saying it since he got drafted, and I love that parable because I would love to have another Jarrett Stoll on this team. Jarrett Stoll is the heart and soul.
Is it beyond the face-off dot? Like he's pretty good in the face-off dot, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a lethal center.
I haven't really seen much of him at all.
Fast as fuck, bro.
Yeah,
skating is top notch, bro.
What people I've Jad's a good example. I've heard people whispering about him possibly developing to a 50-60 point player. I don't think he's ever going to hit that. But if we spent a second round pick on a guy who develops into a career quality third line center, that's a win for me.
30-40 points. I'm with it.
I'm good with that. And Zach, like you said, like he's got the speed. He kind of has the finish, but not really. But he has such high hockey IQ, and that's what you need in those bottom 6. You look at like the Kings in 2014 or even 2012. And we were 4 lines banging, but we were not 4 lines of talent. And that era is over. You look at the Cup final last season. Like, for example, Tampa's been doing it for a few years now. Tampa has one of the deepest all-around rosters in the league.
Yeah, they got mad depth.
But then you look at a team like, for example, Colorado, which Colorado's a phenomenal team. I love watching Colorado, but outside of their top 6 forwards, they don't really have much. No. Same with Edmonton. Outside their top line, they have nothing. And those 2 franchise players are not enough to carry you to a cup anymore.
You need 4 lines that can put up a goal on any given night, bro. You can't the days of harping back on oh shit, what did I do? Harping back on the the 2012, 2014 Kings, you had your lines defined, right? 1-2 was scoring, 3 was shutdown, 4 was like energy. You don't have that anymore in the NHL. There is no first line through fourth line. This is their defined roles, right? You maybe have a shutdown line. You maybe have a shutdown line where that line goes out against like the team's number 1 line, right? You probably still have that, but like
it works for the Islanders. The Islanders have that.
Fourth line grinders, you don't really have that anymore, though. No. But then again, though, to that argument, though, Alex, if you look at the Islanders, that's the best fourth line I think the NHL has ever seen, bro. They put up goals, they bang bodies, they get on the forecheck.
They'll beat your ass.
I'll even say, like Zach, you just said, like the fourth line grinder is not really a thing anymore, and we're starting to see now that even these players that were considered grinders earlier in their career, they're in their late 20s, early 30s now, are turning into essentially just a very aggressive 2-way player or power forward. You look at guys like we talked about it the last couple seasons. Kyle Clifford's always been one of my favorite Kings, but he's really come into his stride as a hockey player and not just an enforcer. You look at guys like Ryan Reeves. You look at guys like who's
that's the prototypical fourth line right there, right? Like Ryan Reeves, someone who pots goals but then gets in there and crushes. You know what I mean?
And then Vegas has that other kid who's still relatively young. I forget his name, but he's on their fourth line as well.
Oh, Thomas Nosek.
No, not Noshik, but Noshik's Noshik's more of like an energy line center. I think his last name starts with a W. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Stephen Wainwright?
No.
That was a pitcher, wasn't it, at one point?
Anyway,
you're not talking about Terry, are you?
But I'm saying No.
Oh, Carrier. I mean, he's a
Yeah, maybe.
prototypical
Actually,
energy guy.
William Carrier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
William
that's why when
Carrier,
you
yeah.
said William Carrier. Yeah, okay.
And then, but you even look at guys like Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson just netted a big contract. People thought he was just going to be out throwing bodies his whole career. He's teeing up 25, 30 goals. Yeah.
Well, then again, though. I mean, he's putting in rebounds that Ovechkin like hammers off the fucking.
Okay, but you just have guys.
He's still putting them in.
He's still putting them in.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at we'll use another example. Look at Pat Maroon when he was with the Oilers, and he got 22 goals in a season playing with McDavid. Obviously, your production is going to go up with a guy like that. But then he goes to Tampa, and I still argue that he was really important to Tampa winning that cup because he did his job so well, even though he wasn't scoring 20 goals a season.
Right.
True.
Those guys.
I want to say this in regards to Anthony Ciu because we didn't touch on this with him.
Yeah.
He is one season removed from a 30-goal season with a bottom-feeding team in Detroit. So does he have the potential to do it? Fuck yes. The potential is there for him to do it. But when you put him on a line where he's not the guy, like they put him on the line.
Scott chiming in.
I'm
Scott,
trying to think.
fucking 7 bourbons deep right now.
Fucking 65-year-old man, dude.
I love it, dude.
I'm just trying to think of what line Anthony Ciu was playing on last season. It wasn't top line. It wasn't top line with Edmonton.
No, I think he was top 6 though. He was on the second line.
He was
right?
top 6. Yeah, he was on the second line.
It just wasn't a fit for him.
That was
so I'm going to piggyback off what you said because I kind of agree with you where, in Detroit, he was the go-to guy on his line. I feel like you're not going to see that same because you think of it. Okay. Yeah. It's a bottom feeding team. Of course he grinded out 30 goals. He was the most talented goal scorer because Larkin hadn't hit that peak yet. Even now I'd argue Larkin's probably one of the top 15, 20 players in the league, but Athanasiou was the guy offensively because it was him or Mantha. That's it. Those were the only guys scoring your goals the majority of the time. You put him on a line with guys like Velarde and Furk who can also finish. I don't know if you're going to see those 30 goals because he's playing on a team where he is not the guy. I feel like
you put him on a line with Kopi, he's putting up 30 fucking goals, dude. 100%.
Yeah.
Because that line doesn't have anybody to finish except for Kopitar.
Yeah.
Dustin Brown doesn't fucking finish.
And
speaking of like converting, players and stuff like that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Dustin Brown is a prime example of that as well. Used to play his game really, really, really on the edge, and now he doesn't as much. You know what I mean? He rarely goes for hits. I don't know if it's because he's just taking too many bumps and lumps and stuff, but I mean, he's trying to turn himself into a goal scorer.
I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, dude. Banging your body against somebody else's body as violently as he used to.
I mean, I do. Every chance I get, but
yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure it it takes a toll on his body and injuries that he has in the offseason. And adjusting his game style, I think in his 30s is necessary if he wanted to keep playing.
I agree. I'll add this as well. I have a very different opinion of Dustin Brown now than I did 2 seasons ago. And the reason for that is because pretty much what you guys just said, but I feel a big part of why his game fell off is because his confidence fell off so hard, which has been very public. It's hard to bounce back from that, especially in the twilight of your career, but I feel like he's done a very good job the last season and a half, 2 seasons, adjusting to that modern NHL. He knows.
No, sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to say he knows he's not the guy anymore, but I would still argue that every night Dustin Brown is one of the hardest working players on the ice. And not just that, the reason he's still important to this team, and I hope he retires with this team, is he's the biggest locker room presence we have.
Absolutely.
Because regardless who wears the C on this team, we know who the captain was and still is.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I was going to say. I mean, Dustin Brown really could have. He had one of 2 routes once they stripped that C. It was either he could have continued to lose confidence in himself and petered out, and he could have been done or been shipped off somewhere else and signed with some bottom feeding team doing nothing.
And
he could have done something like that. Or you do what he just did, completely revamp his career, start finishing. Fill the presence of what? Hold on.
I'm not bad talking Dustin Brown, bro. I love Dustin Brown. What are you talking about?
I was gonna say I don't think anybody in our group of
I recognize. Yeah, real recognize is real, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing is he had two his end of his career was basically at a crossroads, and he completely did the opposite of what I think we thought was going to happen because I know
just
Alex,
come on the fucking show, bro.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude. You're just hanging on the nuts of the show right now.
Yeah, just fucking come on and fucking talk with us, dude. Jesus
stop
Christ.
being a millie.
I'll take it one step farther, man. I would love to see a 23 banner hanging in Staples Center at the end of his career. I think he absolutely deserves it. Yeah.
First captain to raise the cup, the first American-born captain to raise the cup twice. Like it's gonna happen, dude.
In my opinion, the greatest captain in Kings history.
I think the greatest thing to happen.
I would agree.
Oh yeah, me too. Greatest thing to happen to Dustin Brown was T-Mac, dude. I mean, bringing him in, he wouldn't have put him on the first line for no reason. You know what I mean? So, I think he came in, gave him a shot of confidence, let him know, hey, don't worry about what the media is saying, like all this stuff. Just come out here, play your game. And I think he's even gone as far as saying that. Once Todd McClellan came in, and they had like a deep conversation or had a good conversation and stuff like that. That he came back. That he came back absolutely rejuvenated, ready to play.
That's fucking amazing. And that's what you expect out of a veteran player like that too, man, especially a guy who is your captain for 2 cups. You expect him to come back in there with that shot of confidence to rile up the team, man. I can't wait to see what he looks like this year, man.
I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think we would have a lot of the development in a lot of players like the way Velarde has stepped up, the way that a lot of our offensive prospects are developing, the way that Pearson and Toffoli panned out at the beginning of their career. If it wasn't for a guy like that leading the locker room, I would even argue Doughty would not have developed into as phenomenal of a defenseman as he was without a guy like Dustin Brown taking him, because Brownie wasn't the captain at that point when Drew started breaking out, but regardless, he was a locker room presence. I wouldn't say from day one, because we have all heard about the confidence issues that he had early on in his career, mainly because he played with the biggest scumbag in the history of the league. Well, but besides
fuck that guy for making fun of his stutter, dude. That's such bullshit.
Yeah,
that's shit.
Yeah,
piece of fucking shit, dude.
Well, he's a living pile of shit. So, but that's a rant for another time. But I feel like, and this is again me pushing it into another topic because you guys know how my brain works. I also feel like he needs to retire here for the wealth for the benefit of the future of this franchise, to give these younger guys somebody to fly under and look up to in the locker room. And for that reason, now that we have the cap space, I kind of feel like we should just ride this Carter contract out as well.
Yeah,
that's only 2 more years.
Yeah.
All right. Before we go into that, though, the one thing that I wanted to touch on with in regards to Dustin Brown, there are 2 moves that Rob Blake has made that I just have not liked whatsoever, and that's the Dion Phaneuf for Marion Gaborik trade, which at the time I thought was good, but then in the long run, fuck you, Wally, it's shit. And then stripping Dustin Brown of the captaincy and leaving him on the team. That's the 2 moves that I think has been shitty. Everything else is great, but dude, you only strip someone of the captaincy if you plan on moving them. You don't have them sit in that locker room after you strip the captaincy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys heard. This is pure speculation. This is a rumor specifically about the captaincy thing. Was that Kopi's agent agreed to work out a hometown discount with Kopi and make it okay as long as he wore the C in LA. So the rumor, and Daniel's heard this too, Daniel and I have discussed it. This is like a really big dirty secret that Kopi, there was a chance that his agent was flouting that he would not return to LA if he didn't get the C, which I don't think is something Kopi would have done.
No.
Yeah.
But I can, but what's
I can see an agent doing
I mean,
though.
we even had we even had Colin on the show who played in the W, and even he was saying all the agents in the W are sleaze bags. So these guys are taking home hundreds of thousands of dollars a year off their clients. Of course they're gonna bullshit and cause drama because all they care about at the end is their pocketbook.
Yeah.
So I can totally, because I agree with you, Zach. You don't strip the seat from a captain unless you plan on moving that guy out, or unless it's heir apparent that you need a replacement. And I mean, you guys remember all the controversy in the locker room after that happened, where people were just straight up like, nope. Even Kopitar was like, he's still my captain. There's that quote's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they fired Sutter at the end of that season, and Lombardi got canned right afterwards and stuff like that.
Thank God.
Is that the same season the Kings locked out Sutter from the locker room in Calgary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that blown out of proportion, or was that like real shit?
I
I
don't
think
think
that
so.
was blown out of proportion.
I think it was.
I disagree. I think he lost that room, and I mean, we all know Daryl Sutter is a calm and timid guy, but we also know how he is as a coach. And I
Yeah.
feel like we were already starting to see the shift in world culture in general, but hockey culture as well, where players it got away from the traditional of, oh, well, coach is going to beat the shit out of us and that's going to make us a good team. It's no, coach has to be like a father figure, and if he's not, we don't need to deal with it. So
I can see that.
I feel like
That
it
makes
wasn't. I feel like, of course, it shouldn't have been publicized the way it was, because we've seen it happen multiple times since with other teams.
Right.
But I don't think the situation itself was blown out of proportion. I actually think it was warranted, because you could tell for the last for the last 40, 50 games of that season, there was just no control on that bench.
No, I think in terms of what we're talking about with with the captaincy and stuff like that, I think. I mean, this is just me playing devil's advocate, right? That maybe Dustin Brown was tired of answering questions and tired of doing whatever. And he said, look, take it from me, give it to Kopitar. He's better at answering the questions, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'll still lead on the ice. I mean, because you're absolutely right. I mean, they all look at Dustin Brown as the leader on that team.
I'll throw you guys one more ZadMap caliber conspiracy theory here.
Let's go.
What if AEG campaigned for Kopitar to get the C on his sweater to drive up jersey sales?
In Slovenia?
No, in the U.S.
Here. I mean,
why would it drive up?
So you strip an American-born player of the C?
Yeah, I mean that doesn't really make sense. I mean,
so think about it like this. Think about it from a financial standpoint. You guys we're all old enough. We've all been LA sports fans long enough.
What, get a new Dustin Brown jersey without a C?
Well, the opposite. But what I'm saying is, you guys remember Kobe was such a prolific player. Well, Kobe, most prolific player in maybe the history of LA sports, if not
for sure
top 5. But remember when he switched from 8 to 24 and the jersey sales at Staples Center went up by like 340%. Everybody wants the newest, coolest thing. Now, Kopitar has been your favorite player for 1, 2, 3, 10 years. All of a sudden, now he's the captain of your team. Of course, you're going to want that C on your sweater.
I know. I went and got it. Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of other.
No, it's true. It's true.
T-shirts, all that stuff.
I went and got a new jersey. I got a new Kopitar jersey.
Now,
I got a C on it.
Now I can latch onto that theory if you would have told me, because they wanted to drive the market in Germany for AEG, because Slovenian, he's European, yada yada yada. We have a European captain over here.
That could be part of it also. Like I said, I was just saying driving up sales in general. I
can see that too, especially when you also look at the fact. I mean, you do have a point. Even though Dustin Brown is American, there were still most people, when you asked who their favorite player was, because of how well Kopitar, he was leading the Kings in scoring every single year.
He still is.
And still is. But I mean, he had been doing it for so long. He had become most people's favorite player.
Right.
And it was kind of like a thing. So no, I could agree with that, because I know for sure that he had been my favorite player. And as soon as they threw a C on it, I was like, oh, I got to have to.
I think if you're going to want to drive up like sales, you got to do it to the most like flamboyant, flashy player that's on the ice. If it's solely for monetary gain, you got to give the C to Drew Doughty.
Yeah, no, 100%. Kopitar is probably the most.
Maybe.
No, because Kopitar is the most boring forward that the team has, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not like a drag on him, dude. That's just how sound he is of a hockey player. He can play any zone.
About him being as a top center, because they don't.
But then you also think back to like 2012, 2014, when the game wasn't as flashy, and he was one of the most exciting players to watch, because the game
was he though?
I think so. I loved watching him play.
I mean, we didn't win games on Kopi's like flashiness. We won games because of the system,
playmaking, and the system. Yeah, I mean,
he was the best center, best number one center for a team that plays that system.
Yeah, is him.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy has a wicked shot. He has some pretty silky mitts and stuff like that. But he is the opposite of flashy, 100%. I don't think.
But then again, you go to Boston, circa maybe 3 or 4 years ago, before Pasta was the guy. Who were everyone's favorite players in Boston? Bergeron, who's literally Kopitar East.
Yeah.
And Joe Thornton still.
He's still not flashy. I wouldn't call him. Yeah. I still wouldn't call. Bergeron's not flashy either.
He just
No,
scores
but
goals.
that's what I'm saying is a lot of people's favorite player wasn't the most exciting guy on the ice. It was the most, I wouldn't say the most promoted face, but the most prominent name on the team.
Yeah, that's true. Taves and Tavares also.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about giving if to follow your conspiracy theory here, you would give the seat to the most flashy guy,
Alec Martinez.
Alec Martinez.
Sure.
I feel.
Can we all agree that we can look back on that picture of him with the Cinco de Mayo shit on and know that that's extremely fucking racist?
Oh,
100%. 100%. With the different colored socks and shit. Yeah, that's
absolutely fucking racist.
But look who perpetuated that photo.
Fucking Daryl Sutter.
Daryl Sutter. Yeah.
He probably had to do that to get out of the doghouse.
Can we bring up that comment that Scott just put up, that last comment?
Yeah.
Taves and Tavares are also boring players for sure. Not a negative comment.
I don't know about Tavares, but Taves,
You put Tavares and boring in the same sentence again, Scott. I'll reach into whatever Midwest
I think he's
state.
talking about personality.
Well, but so if we're talking personality wise, Tavares has been very public about why he's like that. It's an actual business plan for him. That's why he's even said, he's like, I won't take photos. I don't drink beer in public because I don't want photos of me with alcohol circulating anywhere, because I want to be like a perfect role model for kids.
Wasn't he on a date with a porn star?
Yes.
He was?
Yeah, he got caught on TMZ with a porn star, like at a Toronto, like
shut the fuck
high-end
up.
restaurant. Yeah, dude, dead ass.
So he's telling
no cap
as that Googles it,
and whoever
then
that is on there,
and then the corresponding videos following it.
Just FYI, Alec Martinez is like half Mexican. I'm not entirely sure of that, but he is definitely some part Mexican.
Mm-hmm. His last name is Mexican.
That works for me.
Not really, though, the way he spells it.
A born human being, not playing yet.
He isn't even Mexican. I would say Alec Martinez is more white.
He's still Mexican, though.
But I mean, is he? He thinks Tex-Mex is Mexican food, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
so I know a lot of Mexicans.
He also plays hockey, right?
I know. Didn't we get into an argument with one of Alex's homies about Texas Mexican food being better than California Mexican food?
Yeah.
Trash.
Whoever said that's going to get a DDT right now.
Yeah, that was Bo.
It was Bo.
And that is a trash argument. I'm going to put that out there right now. That is a terrible fucking argument. All right.
Whoever that person is, ridicule this guy.
Boo this man!
Boo that man!
Boo this man!
Yeah,
you ever suck dick
Matthews
for
is also half Mexican. Still doesn't count. Correct.
Hey, but you know what though? Austin Matthews looks a hell of a lot more Mexican than fucking Alec Martinez does. Dude.
He can't grow his mom that dirty facial hair.
His mom is ESL, dude.
Oh yeah, she's definitely ESL.
She is ESL.
Yeah. He grew up in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there it is, man.
Yeah, dude. He grew up in the Sureño state, dude. The homeboy grew up in Michigan. He probably thinks lawn darts is fun.
What's that one game that you guys play?
Called grass soccer.
No, cornhole.
Cornhole. Oh my god. Cornhole.
And by you guys, I think you know what I meant.
The whites.
Yeah.
Racist.
I don't play cornhole. That shit's gross.
Stop gatekeeping racism, Dave.
Ping pong and shit. Y'all playing ping pong?
That's racist, bro. That's an Asian sport.
I grew up in Southern California. No.
So you ping pong and ding dang?
There's no cornholes around here, dude, unless we're talking about something else.
So let's put this train back on the rails.
Yeah,
so the next bullet point that Daniel had in these notes that he sent us over was outlook for this season. Now, before we drop into it, I read a Reddit.
We skipped over Byfield and thoughts on last season.
Well, first of all, we already talked about. You already made your Byfield a slow joke. So.
Oh, but I wanted to talk.
We want to know
Byfield.
We want to hear from Dave.
Do we want to circle back to those, or do we want to go?
We can circle back. Now? I mean, I'm excited about Byfield.
I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play.
No, I don't think he's going to play either. I don't think it's the right time.
Oh well, we're going into the outlook for this season.
So before we get into the outlook, the reason that I jumped to it is I read a Reddit article or a Reddit post literally today. That ties into this that I was curious about. Somebody was asking, and this is a really good question for the show, and I wish they listened to the show because
We need more questions.
Yeah.
So what they proposed was with the division realignment and a lot of the talent that's been developing for the Kings, and given that it's going to be a weaker season for most teams, is there a chance that the Kings crack the playoffs this season? What do you guys think?
Ooh. I think if we start Peterson and fuse more youth into the lineup, I could actually see us making the playoffs. And the reason being, Kings ended the season on a win streak last year. What were we, 9-0 or 10-0 or something like
I
that?
thought it was 7-0.
We were 7-0, and we were not 8-1-1 in our last 10.
Yeah, there it was. 8-1-1 in the last 10.
And
So
they dominated that last game against Colorado. Like they looked like it was that train.
They dominated their last 5 games or so. I mean, Ottawa's not a hard team to dominate, but
It
against
doesn't matter.
Colorado,
It's
you're
still an
right. But
NHL
against
team, though,
Colorado,
like-
they looked phenomenal.
Yeah, and it didn't look to me personally like it was gonna stop. Me and my wife sat like on the glass literally for that Colorado game.
la-ti-da, okay.
It was a nice gift, man. I'm not gonna say no. So anyway, it just they looked better. I mean, it's crazy. It's so simplistic to say it, but they just looked way better than I had ever seen them at any point in the year.
They looked like the whole lineup finally got some chemistry going.
Clicking,
That's what it looked like. Yeah, it
one
looked like
touch
chemistry.
passes.
I think it's the chemistry, but then also Todd McClellan's system. So he plays.
I agree 100%.
If his system is more upbeat, fast transitional game. I mean, he would have been a perfect fit in
Right.
Las Vegas, and I'm actually super glad that he came to LA, dude. All those people when we hired him, like,
the right deal too. Honestly, I'm glad they gave him a longer deal so that he had time to.
yeah, dude. It's not like, oh, we expect you to turn this over like tomorrow.
Anyone
right?
who thinks Todd McClellan is a losing coach is a moron. Todd
Yep.
McClellan is one of the best modern coaches in the NHL. He has been preaching the modern game since before the modern game even
Yes,
existed. And that's
yes.
why his old teams were so bad, because they were playing a game that was 20 years too new for them.
Yep. And now you
He
bring
didn't
in.
have the assets to implement that system properly.
I
ever.
will tell you now, if we have Todd McClellan for the next 7 or 8 years, he retires as a second or third ballot Hall of Fame coach.
For sure.
Ooh.
How many cups are in that timeline? Would
I
you
think
say?
two.
I agree. I also think too, but I'll go one step further. I see like 4 or 5 trips for this team in those
Yep.
2 cups to the
Yep.
finals.
Okay.
I think this team is built to dominate this division going forward.
Yep.
Edmonton has cap locked themselves for at least the next 6 years.
And still no
Ariz-
defense.
Sure.
Arizona is a perpetual garbage fire. Their year to win was this year when they had Taylor Hall, when they could, and they weren't good enough to win it anyway.
And now they're clearing cap space again.
San Jose is
Yeah.
going into full rebuild mode. Who knows how that's going to go with guys like Carlson, Burns, and Vlasic on contract for God knows how long, getting up so much cap. They have to move those guys out.
Oh, those
Edmonton-
guys are good as gone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Calgary's a perpetual dumpster fire. They're going to have to
They'll
move
have
out
a
there.
goalie situation.
Yeah, exactly. So, honestly, even
Who else
the
is in that
Ducks,
division?
the Ducks.
So it's the Ducks, Flames, Oilers, Sharks,
Our-
whatever the
our-
Seattle team's going to be.
Our only real competition, I think, in the next 6 years
Is
is
the
going to be.
Ducks.
Maybe the Ducks.
I
Yeah.
disagree. I think it'll be. I think the Ducks on the back half of those 5 or 6
Well,
years.
yeah, they're doing
I
all
think
right.
they're-
Hell no.
I
Dude,
think
look
they're
at
a
who
little
they've
closer.
drafted.
Yeah.
Trevor Zegras. They got Jamie Drysdale, dude. Like, bro,
I
have
just
you
feel
seen?
like-
Have you seen?
They're going to be
Zegras
pretty
play?
good, pretty fast, I think.
I agree with you. I just feel that they don't have as many quality complementary pieces as we do, and those need to come through. Like secondary players, like your third line, fourth line, bottom spot, second pairing. I feel like they have the star power to compete with ours, but they don't have the depth and development to compete with ours.
Well, the
Yeah.
problem in that thought process is the fact is it's easier to fill those spots through free agency,
Yeah.
and they also clear a
Yeah,
whole bunch
right.
of cap space, so they can fill those third and fourth lines.
I think Vegas is going to be more dangerous than they ever have been with signing Pietrangelo. I know a lot of people think the opposite. I think that team is really going to turn it on.
Maybe
I
for
feel
a
like-
year or
I
two.
think a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be on the front half.
But I also think, and this is me going out on a limb, and we'll talk about it more on next week's episode, I think Seattle is going to be really, really strong.
Really?
I don't think
I
they're
do.
going to get the same. I don't think they're going to get the same treatment as Vegas.
They're
I-
not. They already
I-
said they're going
Did the
to.
So-
NHL put rules in place so that
did.
Vegas doesn't happen again?
So I agree with you 100%, and yes, they did. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of really high caliber players up for grabs, regardless, just because of the way
Yeah.
some teams are built. And I think,
There is, yeah.
I also think Seattle's not going to do the same thing Vegas did, where they're going to go win now mode from season one. I think they're going to load up with a bunch of quality players, and slowly over the course of 2 or 3 seasons, you're going to start seeing those higher caliber players getting recycled to other teams for picks, and they're going to build a really, really good lineup. On top of that, I think Seattle's going to throw out the first couple of what's it called? Of offer sheets that we've seen in a really long time, aside from the Sebastian Aho deal, because
Right.
they're going to have the cap to throw around, and they're a team that isn't in the best market, and they're going to need to bring some excitement into that building.
Oh, dude, that's an amazing market
That's
up
a
there.
great
Dude.
market.
Oh,
And
yeah,
they're-
Yeah, they've
they're-
been longing for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
they even have.
I agree.
They have the Portland Winterhawks up there too.
I agree, but the other thing is,
Spokane Chiefs.
but the size of the market is not as large. I know the excitement, the devotion is going to be there from the fans, but the size of the actual market just by population isn't the same as it is for like a Montreal or a Toronto.
Well, no, I mean the same
Yeah,
could be
but you
said about
build
LA, though. You know what I
But
mean? Like
you build it though.
But
You
we
built
built
it
it.
3 times.
But we built it. and that's what I'm
Anaheim. Like,
saying.
where the fuck is Anaheim? People don't even know where that is.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
and you have a natural rival right across the border, bro.
Pretty
Dude,
much.
Vancouver and Seattle is going to build one of the greatest rivalries I think we're ever going to see.
I agree with you all. I agree with
Hopefully.
you on that.
What's it going to take for a good budding rivalry, like a furious playoff series or a
Yep.
questionable hit, like
It's
fucking,
it's
like
gonna
the
take
Red
it's-
Wings Avs
it's-
series all those years ago.
It's gonna take Seattle taking Tom Wilson from the Capitals in the expansion draft, which who knows if that'll happen. And it's gonna take Tom Wilson coming out in game 1 and throwing an elbow into Elias Pettersson's face.
Definitely
I'm okay
possible.
with it. I'm okay with it.
Yes, this is true.
T-Mac
Like,
really was the I think the best thing the Kings could do at the time, man.
I agree.
Because if we're going to talk solely on the new coaching like system that is needed, right, where it's more of a father figure.
Yeah.
Everyone that you like, if you read quotes from Dan Boyle on Todd McClellan or any of his past players and stuff, all they say about him is, dude, this
Always
guy
been
just
a point coach.
Yep, he motivates the fuck out of you, dude. If he thinks that you need to be, so I mean, prime example is Dustin Brown, right? He told Dustin Brown, "You're gonna play one right wing this year, dude. You're gonna play first line right wing," and he motivated the fuck out of him. And look what happened to Dustin Brown. Came out and put up points, dude. Showed up every single game.
It just goes to show you that a good hype man is important. That's why
100%.
nobody. That's why nobody.
I know. Trust.
That's why nobody wants Flava Flav anymore, and everybody wants Lil Jon.
I can't argue that.
No.
But I know the importance of a hype man. Dave's my hype man.
Yeah. I'm right here, dog.
I'm everybody's hype man.
Yeah.
Dave's everybody's hype man. So what are our outlooks on the season?
So, like Oswald said in a previous comment that the 4th seed is up for grabs, I agree. And honestly, man, I'm kind of torn. I kind of feel like we should downplay for that lottery defenseman in the top 10, whoever it ends up being, because that's really the one thing we could still use.
Yeah.
But I think Todd McClellan, like you said, is too much of a driver, and I really think this team competes for that 4th seed. I can see us being a first-round
agree.
team this season.
So do I. McClellan tends to think so this year too, apparently.
Well, yeah, McClellan has already said the
hold on.
rebuild is over.
That got taken out of
No,
context.
that
That got taken out of context.
Dave and I talked, or Zach and I talked about that. That definitely got taken out of context. Their rebuild is done.
Yeah, the rebuild is
have
done.
The players, they have the players they're looking for. We've got the our whole pipeline's ready to go.
Yeah.
Now they just need to play and develop in games.
We're in the development phase. We're not in the rebuild phase anymore. We're in the development phase. So yes, he is right. The rebuild is over. But now we're into the second part of this, where it's all about development. And that's where I'm going to segue into the outlook for the season. So
Really
this
quick, so what you're saying is we've moved out of Edmonton and into Florida.
yes.
Essentially.
I don't know if there was a joke involved in that, but I'm gonna.
Yeah,
well,
I'm gonna say yes.
The only joke is the entire Oilers franchise that's been rebuilding for the last 22 years.
they're rebuilding with Connor McDavid,
Yeah, wasting that
wasting
first,
away,
yeah,
looking
wasting away.
looking like a crackhead and shit.
Dude's gonna
Yo,
finish his
Literally the
career.
angels of
Dude's
the
gonna
NHL.
finish his career having played for one team, being second in the NHL all time in points, and never having made it past the first round of the playoffs.
So this is my outlook.
Pobrecito.
I think this season you're going to see the likes of Turcotte. You're going to see the likes of Jared Anderson Dolan. You're going to see the likes of Velarde. You might even see Tobias Bjornfoot in the lineup. And the reason being,
I think we see Kaliev too.
I think that as well.
Oh, you'd
Now,
like
here's
that,
the thing.
wouldn't you?
Now here's the thing, right?
I would be flying half mast for the next 115 days of this
But
regular
he's,
season.
he's an Uzbek though, bro. He's not even Russian.
Yeah, man.
Bro, listen, we're all brothers in Soviet arms.
So that being said, if there is not an AHL season this
Yes.
upcoming season, which I don't think there is, and
There's not. They've already confirmed it. Oh, there goes Zach.
Oh, that was interesting.
Mid rant.
Mid rant.
Look,
He'll be back in a second.
what was he saying?
There he is.
There he is. Oh,
whoopsie poopsie. If there is no OHL season, which it doesn't look like there's going to be, they're going to allow 18-year-olds and whatnot to play in the AHL. Now, if there's no AHL season, they're gonna be a part of what's called the taxi squad. Kids that travel with the team that are there just in case a call-up needs to be made like that.
now they've already announced. I think they're even expanding the roster. I think the roster sizes are going up to 24, right?
I'm not too sure. I haven't read that.
It's either
24
24 or 23 is what I
I'm
remember.
pretty sure it's 24.
Yeah.
So they can carry 3 extra skaters, but then
Yeah.
also
Plus their taxi squad, which is
Plus
going to
the
be
taxi squad.
which I believe is going to be 7 or 8 players.
Yep. So a lot of these kids are going to be traveling with the team, practicing with the team. God knows they're probably going to get games in with the team as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I think you can see – I definitely see kids like Kaliev, Turcotte, Rasmus Kupari. Fuck, you may even see Quentin Byfield in the game, dude. Who knows? I mean, he has 8 games that he can play before we burn a year on his ELC.
I honestly, man, I feel like he's going to crack 8 years before the second month of the season.
8 games?
8 games.
I think they're going to give him an extended look right out the gate.
Why not?
Really?
It's in a 53-game season too, right?
And he's a big
Yeah.
body. He's got the size. He's got the speeds. He's got everything that he needs already.
And listen, you're coming
And
in
he's
with
put on weight. He's put on weight since the draft.
and
I
you're,
don't know if you
you're
guys have heard that.
Yeah,
You know,
but-
like maybe like 10, 15 pounds of muscle or
Yep,
something like that, right?
straight
Yeah.
muscle. Yep.
and then you're also coming out of a shortened NHL season into
Yeah.
another shortened NHL season.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of fresh bodies. Almost every team is coming in fresh. If you really want to see what Byfield's worth, you throw him in out the gate when everyone is playing their hardest.
I think that's fair. Where does he play in the lineup? Do you just throw
2C.
him with Kopi? A 2C?
I think maybe the first couple games, and then if it proves to be overwhelming, you slot him in at the 4C on an energy line just to kind of let him get a feel for the NHL flow, or maybe even invert that and start him at 4C for the first couple games.
I would say that. Yeah, start him at 4C.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
you don't really want to overwhelm the kid out the gate. You want him to have time to get used to the pace without, you're obviously running a limited number of games if you don't keep him up. And I agree with you, Zach, because if you think about it, we have so much talent that we need to give room to develop this season that it doesn't make sense to play Byfield this season.
Right.
It's better just to have him run that taxi squad, or if there is an AHL, let him play in the AHL and let these guys that have been in the system a little longer actually get their paces in.
Yeah. But I would play him. Me personally, I would play him.
And-
Just
and
to see what he
Get
is.
what you can out of his what he's allowed, and then go from there.
And also, that's not to say, because I know some people will misconstrue it this way. That's not to say that we don't think Byfield isn't good enough to play in the NHL right now, because I think we can all agree we absolutely think he can, even if it's not in a
Right.
2C 1C capacity. He's absolutely NHL ready.
He is
But he's
definitely not
still-
slow.
But he's still so young, and we have so much other young talent that's been in the system longer and needs the NHL experience, as opposed to we
Right.
just want to get them that NHL experience. Maybe this season isn't the time, but we can always give an extended look. But if he's ready to go now, like at a 30, 40 point pace, keep him in.
Yep, put him in that. Put him
Yeah,
in
there's
that
no
fourth
sense
line.
in sending him
role.
down or.
I mean,
not
we don't
letting him
have
play.
we don't have Mike Amadio anymore, so I mean, fuck it, why not? I'm going to disagree with Scott just because of all the protocols they put in place.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
100%.
they're not going to be
I
able
agree.
to do shit when they're out on the road.
Yeah.
It's not the NFL. They're not they're not tag teaming single moms in the parking lot.
Jesus Christ, or tag team
Doing,
strippers.
doing cocaine off of her back and shit.
Yeah,
Swap-
Neymar did that, right?
Swapping bodily
He went to go
fluids.
support his homie.
No one's having a gangbang with coach's wife after the game.
Yeah, dude.
God damn. So who are you guys going to be watching out for this upcoming season?
I know everyone's gonna think I'm gonna say Kaliev. I'm not. I'm going Bjornfot because
Okay.
Doughty was so stoked on his progression last season, and then if you watch some of his game, like even in the World Juniors, he has looked so stout defensively.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you haven't heard his name once, but when I'm looking at a defensive defenseman, that's what I want. How often do you hear Mark Edward Vlasic's name come on a Sharks telecast? Almost never. The dude is phenomenal.
I watched some of the Sweden game, dude, and none of those kids are getting past Bjornfot. None of them.
No.
And also too,
what is it, size or technique? What is it? Haven't seen any of those games.
You know what? I disagree. I think it's both because I feel like now we've started to see a trend in the last couple of years where the defensemen are getting smaller, and everybody talks about like Jared Spurgeon. I feel like started that transition into the smaller NHL defenseman, but like Quinn Hughes really isn't that big. Cale Makar really isn't that big, and we could have argued that with the numbers that he put up, Quinn Hughes potentially, just with his offensive output, because we know that's all the NHL cares about, could have been a rookie Norris candidate because the pool really wasn't that strong. But when you look at a guy like Bjornfot, dude, he's way bigger than a lot of these kids that are breakout superstar defensemen in the NHL right now.
And what's crazy is he's only like 6'1".
Yeah. Well, he's wide, dude. That dude's built like an ox.
Yeah. And and one of his strengths that don't really get enough don't get talked about enough is his skating, bro. The kid is a phenomenal skater, and he has hands, dude. Everything that you hear about him is so like you know the old philosophy of like glassing out, right? Glassing out. That was fucking Kevin Gravel's Twitter handle, glassing out. So that's what you would do, right? If you get into pressure, somebody's pressuring you, just glassing out and hope the forwards get it. No, dude. Bjornfot can skate the puck out of trouble, dude, with his hands, his size, and his speed. Dude is a monster.
So I said when we drafted him initially that he reminded me of a Mark Edward Vlasic, and because of the hands and everything that I'm seeing, I've kind of moved away from that. He really reminds me, because I mean, we all grew up in the area of the gory days of hockey, which was like the late 80s, early mid 90s. He really reminds me of a modern NHL Paul Coffey.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is a comparable I love. Paul Coffey, one of my favorite NHL players, one of all time.
I was gonna say Brian Leach, but yeah,
Brian Leach is another. Well, I mean, those two guys had really similar games, but
I would say his comparable.
Coffey.
I would say his comparable right now. If we're gonna talk to an NHL defenseman that's in right now, I would think he's an Anton Strawman, dude. Just quiet, very good at defending the zone.
That's a really good call. I would argue, for me personally, at least, Aaron Ekblad.
I don't think he has the offensive output as Aaron Ekblad, but again, I mean,
Aaron
he's
Ekblad
not
just has a better shot, I feel like, but also it's a lot easier to be like a higher scoring defenseman when you play on a team with a guy like Keith Yandel, because that's who the defense is going to focus on cutting down on the other defense.
Oswald. Join the fucking podcast right now, bro, and just talk about. All you got to do is
get through here. It's Kings hockey. Let's go.
Just talk about prospects with us, bro.
You don't even have to, hold on, and if you're worried about the camera, you don't even have to turn it on. It just needs to be enabled. You could turn it off like Alex did. He had it off. It's very
just
easy.
like this. Boom, gone.
There you go.
Boom, I'm back. Boom, I'm gone.
I'm
Boom,
gone.
I'm back.
Boom, I'm back.
Boom.
I'd prefer you to leave it off. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
No, but Bjornfot is.
Yeah, he's awesome. I can't wait to see more of him. You suspect he's going to get time this year? Or?
I think that if it were any other core of players at the seniority level of this team, he would at least get a look. But I think because Doughty was so high on the kid, I think Doughty's pull alone will get him up there.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Scott.
115 points this season, wins the Stanley Cup by himself.
What the fuck are you watching us on, Scott? Or us? Nah, dude, that's the bronchitis talking.
Yeah.
for sure.
Got the bronchitis. See, I think Bjornfoot has completely leaped Mikey Anderson in development, dude. I just think he pans out to be a better
I think
prospect.
Bjornfot is not only our best defensive prospect because I've been off the Kale Clog train for a while. I also think he's
Wait, Kale, what?
Clog.
You and your
Just
fucking
whatever.
Russian pronunciations, dude.
Anyways,
Tobias. It's like fucking gold member over here, smoking a pancake.
anyways,
I love gold. Can't
I
fall,
feel-
Rubber Ducky.
I feel like Bjornfot is development wise our best defenseman, and honestly, depending how he looks at the beginning of the season, he might already be our second best D-man active on the roster right now.
I'd still like to give Kale Clegg a look, man, because I mean he deserves
man.
it. He deserves it. But
Yeah.
on the flip side of that, I just don't think he's going to pan out. Someone for me to watch out for this upcoming season, I'm going to say Alex Turcotte, dude. I think this kid's going to come in. He's just going to fucking light it up, bro.
Okay.
I think so too, but I feel like he's going to be very hot and cold. I think we see him put out like 40, maybe 40 points, but 35 is like a safe bet in my eyes. But I feel like it comes super streaky while while his body adapts to the NHL level size of the game.
You made a point earlier, Zach, about like who would make an easier transition to the wing. You said Turcotte earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Do you see him getting time at both center and wing, or how do you see that playing out?
I see them trying him at center and wing. I think that they're gonna try that out. I think the same thing with Rasmus Kupari. I think that they're gonna do that with him this season as well. Give him some time on at both center and wing, but I just don't think Kupari has it.
Just flip him for a pick already.
Kupari?
So somebody else can bust him. Look, we already got Anderson this offseason, who's the former third overall pick. And what was it? Was it the Matthews draft or the McDavid draft? The Matthews draft, right?
Matthews draft.
Yeah. Third overall pick in the Matthews draft. He already has a higher seeing than Kupari.
I think so too.
And he's also a center wing flex. He's literally Rasmus Kupari, but with a higher ceiling. So why do we even need Rasmus Kupari?
That's true. I mean, you even have to think about Akil Thomas too, man. What are we going to do with him?
That's another big thing. That's a good point. Is what do we do with Akil Thomas? Because I think Akil Thomas is going to develop into one of the most polarizing mid-6 forwards in this league.
I think so too.
Really?
And
his size is a disadvantage to him for the type of role he may play.
Dude, he's like 6 foot,
NHL.
6'1", man. He put on weight since that time we saw him.
Oh, and then on top of that,
I mean, he was a little kid when we saw him. That's
Yeah.
the comparable I want to draw him
When
to
all
is
of us
also-
were at that game together.
Yeah.
I was
comparable-
drinking that night.
The comparable I want to draw him to is another guy who was considered undersized for the old NHL, but has had a really successful career as a second line, third line forward, and that's David Perron. He could be the next David Perron.
Have you ever seen his calves though? It's like he has fucking Christmas hams in his socks,
Who?
bro.
Yeah,
Who?
seriously.
David Perron?
Yeah, and Jonathan Marshall, so dude.
Bro,
Oh, yeah.
But Akil Thomas is not undersized though. Don't.
Okay.
Akil Thomas is not undersized at all.
David Perron looks like he could pull a fucking jet plane down the ice and still skate at about 30 miles an hour.
I think so too. He looks like it. What about you, Daniel? Who's your who are you going to watch out for this season?
So I'm actually gonna not really piggyback off something you said, but it was a point you kind of made earlier, Zach. Who I'm really looking forward to is I think Kempe finally gets
God damn
a
it.
steady position there on the second line. And
Zach, can you override his mic?
Huh?
Can we override Daniel's mic and just change it to another player, literally any other player?
Oh, no, because I'm interested in what he's going to say, and I'm probably going to agree with him. Can you get your mic out of your mouth though? I'd really appreciate that.
No.
No, I mean the thing is, we've had Kempe go up and down, and it's something we've talked about multiple times, Zach. I mean, you brought it up last week. You brought it up earlier this episode. He's been moved up and down the line. He hasn't been consistent. He needs to be the guy on a line. He hasn't really shown to. I know, especially to Alex, what everybody was expecting from Kempe, and I know Alex is off the Kempe train, but I think if you give him consistent minutes on the second line, I think he really can be a key piece and a good I think he's going to take my comparable step on this is to what Iafalo's done on the line with Kopitar and Brown. Iafalo is not a what I would call maybe a star first line left wing on any other team. He fits his role. He knows what he's doing. And if Kempe steps into, I'm the guy on this second line, and I'm the finisher with Velarde, I think it's going to be the step that we want to see. He's not going to be the Kopi. He's not that high of a ceiling guy, but I think he can fit a role that the Kings need. Is secondary scoring on that second line if they stop moving him around across the board.
Zach, before you jump in, I just want to tell Daniel, those are all very, very good points. That's a solid argument. I can't gripe the argument. My only gripe of that argument is I've heard that argument from you guys for the last 3 seasons, and I'm sick of it.
The problem with that is he still hasn't gotten the consistent minutes.
Yeah, dude.
This is very true. Yeah.
Nobody said, "Hey, Kempe is going to be this guy."
He hasn't shown that he deserves the consistent minutes.
I think last year he did.
He took a step forward last year.
Dude,
I don't think so.
When he took over for Carter?
Sorry. Yeah, when Carter got injured. Yeah.
Go for
it.
But
he was going to surpass his, in my opinion, at the end of the year last year through 69 games, 11 goals. The year before that, full season, 12 goals. So he had time. Obviously he was going to hopefully, add to his goal total from the year previous. But I'm telling you right now, dude, he was on fucking fire the last couple games of the year. He looked really good. He was skating really hard. And I felt like this was like the first time in a while that he'd been given consistent looks. Second line. I think he was maybe even playing third line in the last couple games that I saw. But once you give him those consistent looks in that space, I think he's going to be fine. And that was the player I was going to fucking pick, Daniel.
I would say, like, he looks like his ceiling is going to be a 20-25 goal player in a good season, which I'm comfortable with. What I'm
on a
not
second line, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm not comfortable with is the argument that people think that he's capable of more than that, because I don't think he is.
Like, I don't think anyone's saying that. I don't think Daniel's saying he's going to score 40 goals a year. I think he's saying that he's got to be the best second line winger that the Kings need him to be, which is somewhere within the 20-25 goal range.
I think that's why he's going to take that step this year, is because they're going to move him from center to left wing. He's a winger, bro. He is a winger. 100%. A winger.
Yeah, 100%. So to that argument, that I would agree with. I just feel like everybody in here included, I feel like for a long time people were just tempering their expectations too high for his development.
Yeah, fair.
And that's where I fell off the Kempe train. If he develops into a second, third line flex winger that puts up 20 goals a season, I'm more than comfortable with him in that role. I'm just sick of Kings fans generally, and I'm not saying Daniel specifically or Zach specifically, although we all have in years past. Even I was on that train for a while.
Yeah, man, we all were.
We need to stop waiting for him to develop into this top 6 Zach Parise caliber sniper, because it's not going to happen.
But what if it does?
Yeah,
if it does, great. I'm all for it. If we get a young Alexander Steen out of him, I'm good with that too. But let's temper our expectations to that. Is all I'm saying.
The only other thing I'm going to say, like the only other point I'm also making of this too, is when Kempe was finally getting more and more minutes, was the decline of the Kings. We are going in a complete rebuild mode. He not only is he moving up and down the lines, he's moving up and down the lines with lesser talent than we were expecting him to be there with. So, he's not been playing with the same guys. And then you're talking about moving in, random guys as we're moving people out to create what we're trying to build here and what we've got moving forward. So now you're slotting him into not only consistent minutes where he should be on a second line or, not the first line capable guy, but you're putting him there with players that he's probably just going to stick with for the time being. Like for when people have
at least 56 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you're when you have consistency and you know who you're going to be playing with it's just easier to take
It's the
that
chem.
jump.
It's the chemistry, right? And
It's all
and,
it
and,
is.
and,
I'm-
in our
I'm-
defense, hold on. In our defense, we had such high expectations of him because he was literally our only prospect from fucking for a good long
You're
while
100%
there, bro.
correct.
This is
You are
true.
100% correct.
Yeah.
Our cupboard was fucking barren for a
So-
goddamn second there.
So the notion that like Kempe is some highly touted, oh my god, no, dude, no. Do we
He's all we had.
think that he could put up 20, 25, maybe even 30 goals? Possibly. Is it going to be good to see him get the opportunity to play wing? Yes, because I think he's going to take that next step. But with that being said, I know for a fact that we have prospects in our system that are leaps and bounds better than him.
Akil Thomas.
I will say this about
Akil Thomas is not on the same level as Kempe. Akil Thomas is a depth center.
yeah,
He's
a
a-
totally different.
He's
game.
a shutdown center.
Adrian Kempe to me feels, and I'm gonna cross-reference sports here, but he kind of sort of feels like the Nick Van Axel, in which Nick Van Axel for the
Ooh.
Lakers, in which great player, right? Really skillful player, but was a stopgap in between Showtime and the Kobe Shaq era, and
Right.
that's how it's always been. I'm starting to get this feeling that Kempe is that stopgap in between our glory days, ending in 2014 and to where we're at now. Just the in between is what I'm calling it until we start the next chapter.
So but what happens to Kempe at the turn of that page into the next chapter?
He turns into another guy.
I mean, it's not like we're tied to him for a crazy long amount of
No, we're
time,
not.
and he's not
I'm
expensive.
actually, I've said before, as much as I was over Adrian Kempe, I really, really like that contract.
So do
Yeah.
I. I think all of us like it, and
Well,
he's
because he
entertaining
even
enough.
knows.
He's still got, I mean, he still has the talent too, and that's the thing, is that's why I'm excited, because it's not that he's going to all of a sudden bust out for fucking 40, 50 goals. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's going to get consistent minutes, play with the same guys, and I think he can hit that 20 to 25 goal thresh mark. And if not 30, I mean, I don't know how great of our team,
I don't see him. I don't see him
20 goals this year. As long as he stays healthy and the line stays healthy, and they have consistent players. Obviously, health is always. I mean, he's not having issues with that, but it's always something that factors in.
I'm gonna change my answer and agree with you up to 20 goals. I don't think he has. I don't think he has the.
All right. Here we go. All right. Oh, well, it probably won't happen in a 56-game season, but in a full season, we'll talk about next season. Well, fuck, we can't.
Well,
really
hold on, because Dave hasn't gone yet.
No, but hold on. What I was going to say is, if Kempe puts up 30 goals either this season or next season, you need to fart into your hand and huff it.
100%.
I would do that for much less than a 30-goal Kempe season. You better think of something better. I'll give you till halfway through the season to think of something else.
25.
I would do that for a lot less. So you're gonna have to think of something a little more punishing than that.
Yeah, I'll give you
exactly. I'll give you until the 30 game mark of this season to come up with a better punishment.
All right, then, fine. Dave, you're going with. Ooh.
Wait, no, Alex has to pierce his nipples.
Only
Both
one.
of them.
No, one nipple.
I would literally rather put a bullet in my brain than pierce.
Oh my god, that's the punishment. That's the punishment. You have to pierce your nipples. Let Zach or me
I won't do it. I won't do it.
A homemade.
Get a Prince Albert.
I will get Sam on this mic right now and tell you and have her tell you what happens if my nipples get fucked with. It's bad news for everybody.
She's gonna pierce your other one and connect them with like a chain.
It's like the Blob. It takes over his whole entire complex.
I would rather get Zach's initials tattooed across my taint than pierce my nipples.
They'd fit.
There it is.
Can we get that in writing? Please?
All right. How about this?
We have it in recording. It's better.
How about this?
I will get.
Kempe's name tattooed on your ass.
No. I will
on your
get
ass.
No, I will get an ITNZ tattoo, like a good size ITNZ tattoo.
Where?
Well, I mean, that's not really a
Why
punishment,
would you not
bro.
do that? I thought you were going to do that anyway.
It's a
I'm gonna get
punishment.
a Zach Map tattoo.
I'll do it. I'm down. I'm down for that.
Nipples.
No,
Yeah, he's getting the nipple pierced.
No.
Oh,
No.
Yeah.
yes.
You heard it here, folks.
No.
Alex is going to get his
No.
nipples pierced if
No.
Juice puts up 25 to 30 goals.
No. No.
I think he's going to do it.
I no.
Sounds
No,
like he
not
is.
my nips. Not my nips. Not my nips.
No, okay,
Not
okay. How about you have to
Never.
completely shave your body? Every ounce of hair. You have to completely shave your body.
Your head, your beard, everything.
Deal.
And you have to put pictures
Your
on the
eyebrows,
Discord.
too.
You have to put
Eyebrows,
pictures
too.
on the Discord.
No, because of my job, I will not do that, but I will do literally everything else.
Except for your eyebrows.
Okay.
Not.
I'm so happy.
I'll up the ante for you. Not only will I not shave my eyebrows, I will grow a full unibrow and shave everything else.
So you're just going to keep the same thing, except you're just going to shave your face.
Stand in the background going, oh my God. Babe, it's
So
okay.
the player
There's
I'm
zero
going to
chance
watch
of
out for, since we're still talking about hockey, I hope.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about prospects, middle tier guys. What about Jeff Carter, man? 35 years old.
I've given up on him.
I know, man, but I guess the question was, what do we expect? And unfortunately, I think we're seeing the last of good old Jeff Carter, man. Get a number 9 tattoo on your ass if anyone asks. Say it's for Evander Kane, not Kempe.
I think if anybody knows me, they'll be more upset about Evander Kane than they will about Kempe. That's more of a sellout for me at this point than Kempe is. Everybody knows how I feel about Evander Kane, and that is he is the Marshawn Lynch of hockey.
I don't even understand what that means. Can you elaborate on this?
No, Alex just doesn't like Evander Kane.
Evander Kane is a spoiled scumbag.
But he wants to fight Logan Paul.
That's the one time in my life I will root for Evander Kane.
What if you wouldn't want Evander Kane on your hockey club? You wouldn't. You don't think he slots right into our number 1 line right there?
I think there's better players that do the same thing he
We're
does.
We're not asking if there's better players. You wouldn't take Evander Kane?
Yeah.
Not if
My
there's
wife
better
just
players.
woke up from a nap.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ, at 10 p.m.?
10 o'clock, yeah.
Yes.
God damn.
Bro, listen, me rooting for Evander Kane in that fight is the same thing as rooting for Hillary Clinton to win the last election. You're just picking the lesser of two evils. Well, yeah, the lesser of two evils.
All right, let's just be real here. Alex doesn't like Evander Kane because he's black. So, let's discuss prospects.
Even though Wayne Simmons is my all-time favorite King.
I
call horseshit, dude. You just found out today he played for the Kings. I know that for a fact. You told me and you called me earlier.
I'm cool. I'm hip.
He's like, who was that guy?
What's up, fellow high school kids?
Hello, young people.
I really like old time hockey where guys' brains turn into mashed potatoes.
Dave actually called it. Until today, I thought Nick Van Exel and Wayne Simmons were the same person.
Oh my god! Wayne Simmons was never bald though, dude.
Yeah, Wayne Simmons is taller, I think.
So the Kings have some prospects in the WJC. Any of them standing out to you guys?
Bjorn
I haven't
Paul?
watched any fucking of the games, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Dave has to look it up. Lucas Parikh got a shutout against.
I wanted to tag this up too. A lot of people listening to this obviously know that Canada beat the ever-loving shit out of Germany the other night,
like 17-2 or some shit like that.
16-2, and Byfield did not record a single goal, but I think Quentin Byfield is one of the 5 best skaters in that game. If you look at Byfield's game throughout this entire tournament, at all 200 feet of ice, everything looks perfect. Hold on, what's Scott say? All right, fine. If people ask, say it's Connor McDavid tattoo, and you get the number 7 next week because the tattoo hurt too
much. See, I think Byfield is going through the Turcotte treatment that he got last WJC, where they're putting him in a different role. He's playing a different game than what he's
Yep,
used to.
I agree.
And to be quite honest, man, I think this is all the Kings doing. They're telling the coaches, the U.S. coach, hey, we want you to have Turcotte play more of like a shutdown role. We want to see what he has. We think he could do this, X, Y, and Z. And maybe they're doing the same thing
I can see that.
to Canada because they want to see what Byfield has when it comes to shutting.
I can see that
people down.
100%. But honestly, man, so like I said, his game has been phenomenal. Parikh, like you said, teeing up a shutout against the Czech Republic, which I'm not sure if you guys know this.
No, for the Czech Republic.
For the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this. That was the first time in 20 years that Russia has been shut out in a World Junior game.
Really?
That was the first time in 20 years. Bro, me and Zach have talked about it a few times, like in parties and stuff. Parikh is I think Parikh's the future, bro.
I've said it on this show and people have disagreed with me. Not you guys, but
Yeah.
people in our chat.
What is it about Parikh that
He's
has
big,
so
athletic, and he has the hockey sense, bro.
Here's my thing is I feel like Cal Peterson is going to be like LA's Georgiev.
He's the Nick Van Exel of
That's
goaltending.
what I was getting at. Yeah, he's the stopgap
welcome.
of goalies for us. I think Cal Peterson will be our secondary. He's going to be like our Martin Jones going forward, but I think Parikh takes that starting role once he comes into the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, man, and that's
Jesus
not taking
Christ,
anything
he's
away from
6'4". He's fucking huge.
He's a big motherfucker.
that's not taking anything away from Cal Peterson because I think Cal Peterson is absolutely a starter caliber goalie in the NHL. But I think Parikh is going to be a big, if not a top 5 goalie in the league, a top 2 goalie in the conference for sure.
Yep, agreed. And then I also wanted to comment on this. Askarov has the grossest neck beard I've ever seen in my life. Dude.
Bro, he really does. Yeah, Askarov looks gross.
What's his first name? Yaroslav
Yaroslav Askarov.
Yeah. The crazy part is I think what you're saying about Cal Peterson isn't a knock on Peterson like you're saying. It's just
not.
People were expecting Cal Peterson to be the next franchise goalie and the replacement
I would argue that is absolutely the case. I think Cal Peterson could be our goalie going forward. I mean, you look at teams like Pittsburgh where
he's going to, but he's going to stopgap him for a few years. Is what
Matt Murray is
higher level talent,
right? So like Matt Murray is an average NHL goalie at best, but he got hot at the right time. You know what I mean? And he took that starting job from Marc-Andre Fleury, which now looking back probably wasn't the best idea for Pittsburgh. But now you have Tristan Jarry, who's blown up in the last couple of seasons, and he was lower on the depth chart. And I think we're going to see the same thing in LA, where Cal Peterson is absolutely a starter caliber goalie in the NHL, and he deserves the job that he's earning. But I just think Parikh is that much better than he is, and snagged that job. Yeah. Honestly, man, if we were stuck with Peterson, I still think this team has 2 cups in the next 10 years of Peterson.
I agree. I think
Parikh is just going to make us that much better.
No, I think so too. I think the difference is it's because the situation's a little bit different with our goaltending coaching and development staff. I mean, it's bar none.
There is no such thing as a subpar goalie in the LA Kings farm system.
No, absolutely not.
It hasn't been for years. No. Look at what we did with Martin Jones, and then we shipped him off to Boston for a first-round pick, and then they flipped him to San Jose because they knew better, and San Jose ended up with an absolute dumpster fire in net after 1 season. Look what we did with Darcy Kemper. We brought him in here after a subpar career. We made him look like a fucking stud, and then we shipped him to Arizona, who has the worst defense in the Western Conference.
Remember the professor? What's his name? I always forget his name.
Ben Scrivens.
Man.
Ben Scrivens was an absolute goat of a backup for us. Jonathan Bernier, anybody?
Yeah, remember how great of
I believe the quote was untouchable. They called him untouchable at one point.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That was when him and Scrivens were on that tandem 13 game winning streak without Quick.
Oh, that was Jones and Scrivens, yeah.
No, it was Bernier and Scrivens.
No, it was Jones and Scrivens.
That's what turned Jones.
Yeah, you're right.
Bernier was already gone.
Yeah, Bernier was gone already, but
This team's front office does such a great job developing goalie talent that I think it doesn't matter who we have back there, as long as they're a starter caliber goalie, they will play like a franchise caliber goalie for this team.
Yeah.
I think whatever you rate a goalie at on the open market goes one step above when they come into this franchise with the development and the coaching that we have.
It's
Honestly,
Ranford, dude. It's
Yeah,
Ranford.
It is Bill Ranford,
I
for
would
sure.
even say, and I mean, it's not going to happen, obviously, but hypothetically, if we brought in
Put
an
Ranford in
aging,
net.
if we brought in an aging franchise caliber goalie like Carey Price, I think you could turn the twilight of Carey Price's career around if you wanted to in LA. I just think that our development coaching for goal, or I just think that our goalie coaching,
whatever
is
they
that
do,
good. Everything they touch turns to gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I don't know what it is. It could be the athletic the athletic trainers. I mean, it definitely could be Bill Ranford giving them a peek into the fucking, into the spell book and to figure out, how to be a good goalie.
Every
And, you know,
goaltender that comes here and plays and then goes somewhere else says that Bill Ranford teaches them to play more aggressively. It's all about cutting off angles. That's what Bill
course,
Ranford's goalie style is.
Bill Ranford is a savant confirmed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
100%. 100%.
So who's the most overrated Kings player?
Going into the season.
I'm gonna say Drew Doughty.
We traded Martinez, right?
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
think
say
so,
Drew
yeah.
Doughty.
So I want to agree with you, but I still feel like transitionally he's one of the best defensemen in the league, if not the best defenseman in transition.
100%. 2 seconds.
But
Bye.
I don't know, man. That's actually a tough question. I feel just like, are we talking from personal perspective or just like as a fan base? Because as a fan base, I think it's going to be Jeff Carter. I think too many people, and I love Jeff Carter. He's my favorite King. But
Wearing his jersey right now.
I feel like too many people are still on the Carter hype train, even though his production has fallen off a lot. In my personal opinion, I think Sean Walker.
Overrated?
I think people are investing too much into what Sean Walker is going to develop into. I don't think Sean Walker is a bad defenseman. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's cut out for more than a flex second, third pairing role.
Agreed.
At that, he is going to be a very responsible, quality player in that role. But I feel like people are expecting him to develop into a top 4 or even a partner for Drew Doughty, and I don't think that's going to be the case ever,
I agree.
let alone this season.
I agree with you there.
I'm going to go with Kempe. Just based off of everything that we've talked about. You said overrated.
But you said he was who to watch for.
I didn't say. I said Jeff Carter, and then we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, you guys are assholes. You guys completely cut him off.
Well,
Yeah.
Jeff Carter is a bum.
Well, yeah, it's who to watch because it's how sad it's going to be. How
Fuck.
Oh my God.
some young kids' fucking minutes that he's going to be eating up because he's Jeff Carter.
I don't think so. I think Todd McClellan does a good job scaling him back, and I think Jeff Carter knows that he's at the tail end.
They've
now.
already said that he's slotting in a third line wing.
I think Jeff Carter knows his role now. I think he's kind of taken mentally the Joe Thornton approach, where I'm just coming in to help this youth get better.
Except Jeff Carter's actually won.
Listen, if Joe Thornton retires without a cup, legit, I will be upset. That man deserves a cup more than probably any other active player
First
in the NHL.
ballot and Hall of Fame.
100%.
100% first ballot Hall of Famer. I think we've all said on the show, as much as because we grew up in the heat of that San Jose LA rivalry, I think we all want to see Joe Pavelski and Joe Thornton win Stanley Cups. Not with San Jose, but we want to see them win Stanley Cups. On the flip side, Patrick Marleau can go fuck himself.
He's such a nice guy.
He's a nice guy, but
He can still go for
he always irritated me as a player.
Wait, who irritated you?
Patrick
Marleau.
Marleau.
That's fair, man.
He was
He has like a box face. It's
Bro.
really obnoxious.
He does.
He's like a Lego man. He's like a hockey Lego man.
He looks like one of the blockheads from Gumby, dude.
100%. The best fucking description.
He was so lethal against LA for so many years.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to like him.
I remember. I think it was 2014 when the Kings were making that 0-3 comeback. I think it was game 2, maybe game 2 or 3. Game 2 here in LA, and fucking
Game 3.
was it game 3 when
I was at that game
when he scored that goal in OT past Slava Voinov. Oh, I was so pissed.
No, Patrick Marleau is honestly, man. I love Patrick Marleau as a person. Seems like a really nice guy. I can't get over hating the guy because he was so good against us. Not even because he was Corey Perry. He was a scumbag on the ice. He was just so good against us.
Yeah.
I fucking hated the guy.
Phenomenal skater. What about you, Daniel? Who's your most overrated player going into the season?
I would have to. The thing is it's hard to choose overrated. I would have to agree with that just because we're in this position. But I think, I mean, my most overrated would probably be.
Watch him say on the Kopitar.
But I understand why the question's so hard to answer.
It's hard
because a lot of these guys aren't like.
Because I'm not going to say my underrated area.
Yeah. If anything, they have to make their bones in the league before we can rate them over. We could overrate them or underrate them. You know what I mean?
Daniel, you can piggyback off me and Sean Walker. You can take Sean Dursey because they're pretty much the same person.
Sean Dursey.
God. I mean,
Dursey.
We thought we were getting something good from that trade, huh?
We still may get something good from that trade. We don't know.
Yeah.
We have no idea yet.
Actually, I'll let Daniel go.
Let him fucking answer. Jesus Christ.
I'm going to let Daniel go, but I want to change mine.
It's taken 10 minutes to get this far.
I know. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm just gonna go for the easy one on Carter because it hurts, but I think even at third line minutes, people still think he will crack into the top 6 and is just going to revitalize his career. I don't think it's going to happen. Obviously, I think that's
at 35 years old.
Even
after
though
2
I
ankle
still
surgeries.
probably a couple months ago was still hoping for it. I just think too many people are going to continue to say what we did last season. Okay, Carter's going to come back from this injury. He's going to turn it around, and he's going to help the kids, and he's going to score 30 goals again. It's just not going to happen.
No.
It's the easy one. I just couldn't think of a better over. I try to pick something different, but I still think that's going to be the case.
It's very sad to see him like third line minutes, and if he doesn't produce, what happens then? Like, does he get relegated to a fourth line role? And can he even play that kind of game? Like, it's just crazy.
I don't think so. I don't think
They have to get rid of him at
This
that
isn't
point.
this is the modern day NHL, boys. It's not a checking line anymore. There's no checking
Exactly.
lines.
But to your point earlier, if there's 3 like fluid lines of like all these guys can score and do this, and then you have your traditional fourth line shutdown line. I mean, the Kings have players that do that. You know,
All 4 lines need to score.
But the thing is, Jeff Carter can still finish. I mean, I feel like every aspect of his game has deteriorated except for his scoring touch.
Yeah. Well, that's the last thing to go with a lot of these guys. Everything else deteriorates. The scoring touch goes last.
Honestly, man, open ice, shot for shot, I still think Jeff Carter is probably the strongest goal scorer on this team. Just, I'm
going to disagree with you there.
I disagree too, man. That's a hard sigh from me.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. That take is kind of cold.
I'm gonna change my answer.
It's cold as much as it's like hopeful. You know what I mean? Like, I think most of that is because you hope that he's gonna do good.
Yeah.
But the reality is that he's gonna be third line guy.
10 goals.
10, 15 goals.
Oh yeah. No,
if he hits 20 goals, I don't think that's gonna happen. And I think this 53 game season, last year in fucking. I think in 62 games he had like 9 goals or some shit like that. So
I think you guys misconstrued what I was saying because I agree with you guys. I seeing anything over 15 goals I think is going to be near watery number on.
60 games, he actually had 17 goals. So he made a push. He was having like a resurgence a bit last year.
Well, he
Did he
got
score
hot.
like 11 of them on the power
Yeah.
play too, or something,
Something
like
like that. I remember that
But
being
so that's a good point because that's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that he's the best goal scorer on this team, but I'm saying if you put every player one by one on open ice, Jeff Carter has the most lethally accurate shot on this team. He's just just not in a game. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying. His actual shot talent is the best on this team.
Like
it doesn't
picking
transition
corners with no goalie there. That's what you're saying.
Even with the goalie there,
with the goalie there, I think he's the most lethal sniper on the team. I just feel like the rest of his game has regressed so far that it doesn't reflect. But and this is a completely an obligatory stat. But if you put everybody in like a shooting contest, Jeff Carter would still win 9 out of 10 of them. But I just feel like you guys said, his whole game has fallen off so far that there's no way he exceeds 15 goals because the rest of his game isn't up to par anymore. But I think shot for shot, he's still one of the best, if not the best, on our team.
I think he has to change a lot of things about his style of play.
I disagree with you only because he can't. Those ankle.
Well, you can adjust where your path to a puck or your path around a defenseman a lot smarter. It's Gretzky did most of that. Getting around guys, and he wasn't fast at all.
Yeah, but after that second surgery, he lost a lot of his dexterity. He doesn't skate the same. He can't skate the same. His body literally will not allow him to skate the same.
I mean, that's why he's lost his speed. He wasn't necessarily like.
Well, that's why his production's gone down.
His step,
the
way he skated. And
the big thing we always said about Jeff Carter is he's not a fast player, but his first step was ridiculous, bro. It was like a bomb going off. He hit that first step and he would leave defensemen 2 or 3 strides behind, even though they were way faster than him because he had such an explosive first step. He can't do that anymore.
No, he can't.
Damn. Which throws off his game completely.
So I think the most overrated players going into this next season are Jeff Carter and Drew Doughty. I'm with it.
I think it's a solid pick because those are the guys with, obviously the most tenure in the league, and
Doughty with the biggest contract.
Yep. I'm gonna throw one more just so people lower their expectations a little bit. Anderson, I think, is not going to be who a lot of Kings fans think he's going to be because I've heard a lot of arguments. Oh, he was 3rd overall in the Austin Matthews draft. Okay, listen, he's going to develop with the right system, and I think this is the right system, into a very, very, very good hockey player. Do not expect him to be our top line wing, top line center over guys like Byfield and Turcotte from now or in the future. Limit your expectations. He could potentially pan out to be a 50, 60 point consistent second line forward, and that's what I'm excited for. I'm only saying overhyped because I don't want people to look at those draft numbers and be like, oh, fuck, we robbed the Rangers. Which we did. We did. Because for the return that we sent, we got way more than that return is worth. But just don't think it's as big of a robbery as it was.
Yeah, I agree.
Underrated.
No general manager is stupid enough to trade away a potential franchise forward for a 2nd round pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go first on underrated because it might surprise you. So my underrated player is actually Drew Doughty because I agree with everything Zach has said. And I know Zach's a little bit more about, Doughty yelling and,
being
trying to get called, being an idiot, all that stuff.
Okay, Don Cherry.
It goes back to what you said, Alex. I still think that Doughty as a defenseman and a player in the NHL, I still think he ranks amongst the top defensemen in this game, especially where people on the NHL network continuously rank players that don't even play defense above him. Drew Doughty is smart in the defensive zone. His transition game is, like you said, probably one of the best. And I also think he's been great in developing the younger defensemen, especially somebody like Bjornfot, who, he's already, as soon as he played with him, just completely came out publicly and was basically stroking his ego so hard. Like, this guy's going to be a fantastic defenseman. I think he's playing more of a role that you're expecting, probably even more so than we know in the background about helping develop those young defensive players. He's still one of the top defensemen in the NHL, and he's getting a very, very bad rap because of how bad the Kings have been. He did take a step back last season, but I also think that this season, again, it goes back to the same things I said about Kempe. We're turning the corner on getting and developing the players that are going to be here for the future. That contract, he's going to be here for the future. He's going to be on our top 2 pairing. I think he's going to mold with this team, and he's there during this whole transitioning period that I think he's going to take his game back to where maybe not where, the top of his game, but I still think he's a top 10.
He has something to be excited about now. You know what I mean?
I'm going to add. I'm going to add one.
Took a step back mentally because of everything going on.
I'm going to add one more column to your argument, Daniel. And this is an opinion. This is, in my head, factual. Drew Doughty is the best puck-moving defenseman the NHL has seen in the last 10 years. Period. No defenseman in this league that you can name breaks the puck out of his own zone on the offensive rush better than Drew Doughty.
Yeah.
I've
never really ever seen a defenseman be able with speed and controlling the puck get around a defenseman with ease. When he's driving the puck. Well, yeah. I had an interesting story about Paul Coffey. He used to wear his skates 2 sizes too small and super fucking tight, so he would be more fleet of foot. Interesting, Paul Coffey. That sounds very, very uncomfortable.
I will actually raise that. I think Drew Doughty is the best puck-moving defenseman in the modern NHL era. If not one of the top 3 all time.
Who would you put in front of him?
I would say maybe see, I don't even know who to put in front of him.
Well, it's different. It's different now. Line passes and
that's why whenever I talk about any player being the best, I always say in the modern era, because it's so hard to compare 60s, 70s hockey to 80s, 90s hockey to hockey now. I just feel like every 15 years, hockey takes a leap and becomes almost an entirely different sport in and of itself. But I would say, since I was born, or since I started watching hockey in the mid 90s, Drew Doughty is the best puck moving defenseman I've ever seen.
I can agree with you.
I can agree with that as well.
I mean, so that's the reason why Drew Doughty's underrated to me, because I still think he hasn't lost enough steps to be ranked where he's at now. I think he did take a step back last season. I agree with that. And I agree with your whole argument about him just bitching at the refs. But, at the same point,
you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I mean, everybody does it, to be honest with you. I'll say he's on the shit into those calls.
Yeah, I'll say this: if you're a casual hockey fan, or even like a moderately educated casual hockey fan, Brent Burns to you is probably the best defenseman in the league, because his name is spoken the loudest. Because I feel like, and I've said it before, for an all around in terms of what you get,
what a defenseman should be.
Well, I'm saying skill level wise, for what he produces defensively and offensively, he's one of the better D-men in the league, because he reminds me of like a Jerome McGinnis on defense. He's like a Swiss Army knife on the on defense.
Yeah.
And so I feel for like a casual hockey fan, that should be your favorite defenseman, and that's a good choice. But I feel for the guys that look at the game at a much deeper level, guys like the 4 of us, Drew Doughty should be your favorite defenseman in the NHL because of all the stuff he does that goes unspoken on the telecast, that he does better than anyone else. There's no way.
That's the simplest thing about 30 plus minutes a night.
I mean, Ryan Suter.
And he's always on the ice in the most important times of the game. Making smart plays. You hardly ever hear Doughty got caught flat-footed, or Doughty didn't make that 50-50 play.
Ryan Suter plays those same minutes, and Ryan Suter, I would even argue, defensively is better than Drew Doughty. But
for sure,
Ryan Suter isn't a superstar, and the reason that Minnesota has not won 2 Stanley Cups is because he doesn't bring to the table everything that Doughty brings to the table. Without Drew Doughty, the Kings do not have a cup right now. Not a single one to our name.
All right. If you guys are done blowing Dowdy, I'm gonna say that my most underrated player going into this season is Matt Roy. Really quiet defenseman. I think that he's gonna take a step this upcoming season. Kid is just solid back there, man, and he's really good at getting the puck through.
Matt Roy reminds me of a modern age Willie Mitchell.
Everyone reminds you of a modern age. Jesus.
I feel like you've said that a whole bunch of times, like in the last years. Yeah, legitimately.
Like you've said modern day. You've said modern day at least 30 times tonight.
Okay, but you have to draw those comparables.
But I think we all know that you're talking in modern times.
Yeah, but I still feel that he's underrated.
And not every defenseman is Willie Mitchell, dude.
But
Willie Mitchell was awesome.
What about you, Dave? I mean, if he ran for president, I'd vote for him.
Yeah, 100%.
I was gonna make a joke and say Adrian Kempe, but I don't know. You guys will probably get annoyed. Underrated. I always feel, and that's just because of his personality, that like Kopi, guys like he does not get any. Like if he played on the East Coast, I'm sure he would get a lot more praise and a lot more accolades. And it's for reasons like that I feel like he's underrated. Like I always feel like he has something to prove every fucking year to all the hockey writers, all the voters for different awards and shit. Like he just yeah, it's just I always feel like he always has to prove something. And
he was rated outside the top 20 centers in the league, right?
Yep.
That's crazy to me. When he
realistically should be outside the top 50 players.
I would say definitely top 5 center for sure.
I would say third. I would say third best. No, top 5 for sure. Yeah,
top 5 for sure.
Because again, they're basing their arguments solely on point production.
Yeah, and no one knows what it's like in the locker room, or if I mean, I'll be honest with you, he doesn't look like the kind of guy who's like rah, get behind me, guys. Like he doesn't seem like the type of guy, so I don't know what it is. But
I think he shows it on the ice.
Yeah, it's more of an on the ice type of thing.
I think if we're looking at all around play, I mean not just two-way play, but just all the little things also. I think the only centerman in the NHL better than Anze Kopitar is Ryan O'Reilly.
Ryan O'Reilly and Patrice Bergeron.
I think for his position, if you look at every aspect of the game, I think Ryan O'Reilly is the best center in the NHL.
I think that's fair.
His curve is too weird for me to get behind that.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I think Bergeron and Kopi literally are they are the guys, and they were. The Selke race was them two for years, and I still think that a lot of the voting was skewed just East Coast bias. We're used to it.
I disagree with you and lean towards your favorite player only because you look at the star power that Bergeron plays with night in, night out with Marchand and Pasternak.
I know.
You're going to give him the fucking puck.
Right.
And him and Kopitar have had similar production and defensive numbers every season. And look at the fucking dumpster fire Kopitar has played in for the last 5 years.
He's never had a true one first line left wing. Never.
Never.
He's always had to build guys up, and he's never had a guy who was already his own.
And that's not to say that Bergeron for a long time wasn't the best player in Boston. He was, but still, the wingers that he had were quality first line wingers. He's never played without that ever in his career. And I think if you put Kopitar on that first line in Boston, Kopitar would be one of the highest point producing players in the history of the Boston Bruins.
I agree. Mm-hmm. His shot is just too wicked.
Yeah.
His playmaking is unreal too.
Yeah, it's the playmaking for me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
For me, I'm gonna go Martin Ferk.
I don't know, man.
Hold on.
I like when they do these.
I feel like Martin Ferk has been waved off his entire career because he's only played for dog shit teams with dog shit players. We saw flashes of what he can do in the. Now, I'm not saying Martin Ferk is a top 6 player, but people literally, even now, say that Martin Ferk does not belong in the NHL. I think Martin Ferk is a ridiculously reliable third line wing.
Yeah, absolutely.
He disappears, dude.
But what underrates him though?
I think people don't respect. Obviously, nobody's arguing a shooting after that 106-mile-an-hour slap shot, but I think people undervalue just how good his hockey IQ is for choosing his shots. I think if he continues playing with a guy like Velarde, he could tee up 20 goals this season.
Okay.
I'm not saying it'll happen. I think it's a
could
stretch to call 20 goals, but if we can get 15 goals out of the guy at the NHL level, I'm more than happy with it because everybody's been calling him to be out of the NHL for years. And he's only 25, 26 years old.
He's
Did
27.
he get a pay raise too,
27.
right?
He
Did he
did.
just sign a new deal? So yeah,
he
I
just
think he's
signed a
going to
new
have
deal.
some confidence. The
3
Kings
years.
believed in him, or the Kings
I don't-
believe in him enough to give him a
Yeah.
contract for consistency. Yeah, I actually like your pick, dude.
So again,
I was-
I'm not saying that he deserves to be, touted as a top 6 forward, but I think for a guy that people were saying doesn't even belong in the NHL, that's a really reliable third line option that a lot of people are just looking over.
I agree.
Fuck. Yeah, those are all good points, dude. I agree with you.
Interesting.
Interesting.
That got a beard
Oh, and he's
scratch
got
with
a
that.
You know
they
who
got a
we
beard
haven't-
scratch.
We haven't really talked about like Jonathan Quick at all. That's one name we haven't.
Do we have a reason to?
I just thought it was crazy we didn't say his name.
We're running a little long here, so we have one more segment, and then we got our beers. So let's hop into that.
Well, this one might be an easy one, right?
The most
Yeah.
exciting prospect? I don't know, man. I'm gonna go outside the box on it again. But are we united? Are you guys unanimous with going Byfield, or does somebody
No.
else have another pick?
No.
No.
I mean, I was gonna say Byfield.
Are you going to say Byfield?
Yeah.
I'm going to go
Okay,
Fagamo.
so we can skip Dave.
You're going what?
I'm going Fagamo.
Ooh.
I like that.
What excites you the most?
The
If
kid's
you
a
had to-
finisher.
Yeah, you like
He's a fucking finisher, dude. Kid can score from anywhere. And that's what I like about him. And he has some pretty good hands on him too, and speed. So
I'm gonna piggyback off you just because mine ties into yours. I think a wing pairing of Fagamo and Kaliev.
I knew you were gonna fucking. That's out of the box, Alex.
Yeah, very out of the
two-
box.
But the two of them together on one line.
Well, yeah, it'd be dirty.
Kaliev
Yeah,
needs
bro.
to get a lot older, man. He's like so fucking young. He still has like acne. Like
Who?
he's-
Kaliev?
Kaliev. Yeah.
Dude, he's
Kaliev.
35 years old. What are you talking about?
Bro, he lived in Chernobyl for 8 years. That's why he has acne.
Oh,
It's not gonna go away.
No, that's not acne. It's fucking radiation burns.
Yeah,
Fuck, that's fucked up. Have you guys ever seen his mom?
No.
No.
Smoke
Why?
show.
Oh, okay. A
Sorry.
pup bunny?
Saw her
Awful.
at the prospects game in Anaheim. She was dressed like she had one of those mink Russian hats on, like the
Yeah.
tall ones with like mink boots. I was like, what the fuck is going
Yeah.
on here? This is
He's
Southern
not-
California. I was in shorts and flip flops, dude.
Dave, think the scientists in Rocky 3. The chicks in the yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going with Fagamo.
I like that, man.
I think
that's the prospect we really didn't give enough due to in this episode.
Mm.
I think if he increases his speed somehow, Byfield, just watch out for this kid.
Because he's so fucking slow.
Yeah, if you get into his profile on NHL
I had to get
21, you
it.
can up the speed and his attributes.
So what you do is as soon as Quentin Byfield touches down in LA, you have Drew Doughty pick him up from the airport, right? Take
Do
him
a
to.
whole line of coke.
I was gonna say take him to
Take him to
Kings
Stonehouse.
Harbor. Take him to Kings Harbor Brewery in Manhattan Beach. Take him into the nearest bathroom stall and just have him rip a fat ass line off the urinal. Welcome to LA, bud.
Or just go to Stoll's house. Just go to Stoll's house. There's ecstasy and coke on the fucking nightstand. Let's do this and hang out.
That's
just
not
love the-
that's not
I'm-
just Stoll. That's Doughty also. So you just go to
I
Doughty
just
Lewis'
love
house.
the prospect of Akil Thomas and Quentin Byfield leading the charge in LA, bro.
That's
I
so
just love it.
fucking sick, dude.
Love it.
So sick.
This is LA, homie. We're progressive.
I mean, could you think of a better place for them to go?
Nope.
Absolutely
To
not.
promote
They
that?
would,
Absolutely not.
Have them go to Boston. Yeah, have them
could
go to
you
Boston.
imagine playing for that fan base? Like, no offense, but Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Or Philly.
Neck beard fucking mouth breathers,
Yeah.
bro.
All
Yeah.
sweaty and shit.
Their neck beards are worse than axe scrubs.
50 years old.
Hey,
still
I
working
saw a
at a gas
picture of his
station.
neck beard. It is fucked up. It
His
is
neck
fucked
beard is
up.
gross.
Yeah, you can Google that.
This is
beard.
gone. This is gone. There's nothing right here, like at all, and then it's just this.
That's our Russian
God.
carpet burn.
I don't like it, man.
It's gross looking.
What's gross misconduct of
What's-
facial hair.
all we've got left is beer.
All we got left is beers.
No, we got left is
I
beer.
mean, I'm not even gonna rate mine, man, because I mean, we've all had it countless times.
I'm not gonna rate mine either because Daniel already knows this is the best beer we've ever had on this show.
So go for it, Daniel.
I'm not going to rate this because it was a free beer, and there's that. So go ahead, Daniel.
There's that.
All right. Well, I guess I have this. I got Nibs from Lincoln Beer Company.
Oh, from Burbank.
Oh,
Yeah, chocolate imperial stout. My dad actually brought it over.
Thanks, Papa.
Yeah, Papa, thank you. So it's 9.5% chocolate stout.
So you're flying through the fucking air right now, basically, is what you're saying.
Absolutely not.
flying through the air right now.
That's all I've had today. So,
Beautiful.
I mean, it's really good. I mean, it's an imperial, and it's one of those imperials that.
That's the only thing you've had
not
today,
overly
except that
boozy.
bowl of gravy you had earlier, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pasta sauce, basically.
pasta sauce.
Just eating pasta sauce.
Yeah,
I had leftover
great
gravy
marinara.
from Christmas, so I just decided to chug the rest of it.
I'd do that. I'd do that.
I would do that too. Actually, I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, so I mean,
Gravy
it's
shoots.
pretty good. 43 IBUs, and for all of those, it's a vegan beer. So
Yeah.
if you care,
Nah, Daniel's gonna go on about being vegan for 45 minutes.
fuck no. I mean, yeah. I mean, it says rich
As
roasty malt,
he wipes the
milk
rest of the
chocolate,
gravy off his
cocoa
chin.
nibs, smooth velvet decadence. It's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty smooth for an imperial for sure. It doesn't taste boozy.
And
at all.
9.5 too.
Yeah.
On a
All right,
Monday.
Daniel.
What's the scale?
The scale is on a scale of 1 to Fall of Troy.
No,
What do you
it's
rate
got to
that
be
beer?
Kings related. Come on now.
On a scale between 1 and Kempe's 30 goals.
AKA Alex nipple piercings.
Yep.
We already agreed full body shave.
No, you already said that you're going to pierce your nipples.
You're
We're
gonna
going to
do
go back
both
and
your you're gonna do both your nipples and
Go
your
on,
belly
Daniel.
button and connect all of them.
You said out of what, 5?
Yep.
I will give this. I'll give it a 4. It's really good. I mean, I'd have it again. I've had some stuff from Lincoln. They have really good IPAs too, but
I don't
I'm
care for
really-
that.
no.
Flat to me a little bit.
All right. Well, yeah, I'd give it a 4. It's good. I definitely seek this out if I wanted to stout again.
And also, don't ever give me Nelson hops.
Nelson.
Nelson
Hops.
hops. Alex hates
So-
Mosaic, right?
Yeah, can't stand mosaic.
I
hops.
hate Nelson hops, dude. It just tastes funky.
That's the same thing with
It's too
mosaic for me. If I want to eat flowers, I go outside and stick my head in the dirt.
Oh, I like that. I
I'm a
love
hate
mosaic.
that.
Citra fan, Idaho 7, Amarillo, shit like that.
Nelson is just gross, bro. It just has this weird aftertaste. I
It's
just
like
can't-
it's too citrusy for me. It's not my thing.
Full Nelson hops. That's what.
Yeah,
Full Nelson.
Full Nelson hops.
It kind of tastes
Um,
like sweat.
So, just real quick rundown for those of you who haven't had this. This is
Yes,
an orange
please.
creamsicle milkshake IPA from Belching Beaver.
Oh.
We've been waiting 2 years for it to come back. The last time we had it on the show, I think it was the first of 2 beers that we ever rated 10 out of 10.
Correct.
Really?
I think we even went higher. I think we went 11 out of 10. I think Daniel and I can agree this is the best beer we've ever had in 80 episodes of this show.
shit.
You guys
Yeah,
creamed
'cause I didn't
yourselves.
Because I didn't
Bro,
get to bring great no
Let me
shot. Yeah.
Zach, let me tell you, when they posted the Instagram post that this was going up and Daniel texted it to me, I was at work. I was on the phone with Bevmo within 20 seconds
They told
trying
him
to
they didn't
figure
have
out
it.
where the fuck to land this shit, dude. It is that good.
Luckily, I called him from the beer fridge at Michael's, and
Yeah.
I picked him up 2 packs.
If you guys have an opportunity to try this, it is fucking phenomenal. Orange
really good.
vanilla milkshake Deepa. It's 8.9%.
It's so good, dude.
I'm gonna hit
not gonna lie,
Trading
it's
Post
so good.
tomorrow and check it out.
Bro, and honestly, it drinks like a 5%er.
Jesus.
This,
So you
this-
crush
this-
that
this-
fucking
It's creamy.
this is a dangerous fucking beer, bro.
That's almost like that strawberry frosted pastry that we had, Dave.
Oh.
Or
Oh.
Daniel, and that other milkshake that we had, Daniel, that straight up just tasted like a milkshake.
Man, I don't know how they do it, but
Those
my
milkshake
God, man.
IPAs are
I don't
so
either,
good.
man. Chemicals, Dave.
Yeah,
Chemicals.
chemicals.
Cancer-causing chemicals.
Yes. Well, you know what they say, boys. Fuck Vegas.
Fuck Vegas.
So, with that being said, thanks for
With
checking us
that
out.
being said,
With that being
Bye.